People always ask me, James, do you miss Justin? And the answer is, I miss the brother I had before he moved to Texas. Because the Justin you see on Instagram now, that's not my brother. That is Hilary Spivey's project. We all saw the photos, the hand on the chest, the constant comments, the way she looks at him. The internet calls it obsession, but I call it replacement. Growing up in a house with 19 kids, you fight for attention. You fight to be seen. And when Justin met the Spiveys, he didn't just find a wife in Claire. He found the one thing we never really had, a mother who was obsessed with him. But there is a fine line between being welcomed into a family and being consumed by one. Did he escape Jim Bob's control just to walk in a different kind of cage? I'm James Duggar, and today I'm going to tell you the real story of how my best friend didn't just get married. He got adopted by a woman who refuses to let him go. To understand why Justin leaving hurts so much, you have to understand how we grew up. People look at the show and they see the Duggars as one big blob. But inside the house, we had tribes. And Justin and I, we were the leaders of the lost boys. We were the middle batch, too young to be the older leaders like Josh or John David, but too old to be the babies like Josie. We were just there. And because we were kind of invisible in the chaos of 19 kids, we clung to each other. Justin wasn't just my brother. He was my mechanic partner, my bunkmate, my best friend. We spent thousands of hours working on cars, fixing heavy machinery, and just driving around the property trying to find a quiet spot. We survived the strict rules by having each other's backs. If one of us messed up, the other covered for him. It was us against the world, or at least us against the rules of the big house. I always thought we would build our lives next door to each other. I thought we would run a business together. But I didn't realize that while I was content making a life in Arkansas, Justin was secretly desperate to find a door-marked exit. And I never saw it coming. We don't talk about this often, but growing up in our system, affection was something you had to earn. Or it was something you got in scheduled blocks. Mom, Michelle, she loves us. I know she does. But physically, logistically, it is impossible for one woman to give deep emotional nurturing to 19 individual souls every single day. By the time Justin and I came along, the buddy system was in full swing. We were raised more by our sisters than by our mom. Jana, Jill, Jessa, they changed the diapers and wiped the tears. But a sister isn't a mother. And there is a specific kind of hole that forms in your heart when you don't get that focused, undivided maternal attention. I think Justin felt that void more than me. He was always a little more sensitive. He craved validation. He wanted someone to look at him, just him, and say, you are special. In our house, being special was dangerous. You wanted to blend in to avoid trouble. But deep down, Justin was starving for someone to obsess over him. And when you are starving, you don't check the ingredients of the food you are offered. You just eat. I remember when the Spiveys first started showing up at the IBLP conferences. They were from Texas. They were different. In our circles, most families are very reserved. The moms are quiet, keep sweet, stay in the background. Hilary Spivey was not that. She was loud. She was colorful. She was intensely present. She didn't just say hello. She hugged you. And not a side hug, a real lingering hug. For us Duggar boys, that was jarring. We weren't used to older women being that friendly with us. But she zeroed in on Justin immediately. I watched it happen. Started with compliments. Oh, Justin, you're so handy. Justin, you're so mature for your age. She was giving him the affirmation that he never got from our parents. She made him feel like a man, even though he was just a teenager. I remember thinking it was nice that she was being kind to him. I didn't realize she was recruiting him. There is a word that gets thrown around on the internet, grooming. Usually, people use it for older men targeting young girls. But looking back at the timeline with Justin and the Spiveys, it makes you uncomfortable. Justin was a minor. He was 16, 17 years old. Hilary was a grown woman with children his age. She wasn't just pushing her daughter toward him. She was pushing herself toward him. She would comment on his pictures constantly. She would text him. She created an environment where he felt more at home with her family than his own. Was it predatory? I don't know if I want to use that word, but was it targeted? Absolutely. She saw a vulnerability in him. She saw a boy who needed a mother figure, and she stepped into that role aggressively. By the time Justin turned 18, the hook was already set deep. He wasn't making a decision as an adult. He was following a path that had been laid out for him while he was still a child. He didn't stand a chance. In the real world, getting married at 18 is crazy. Who knows who they are at 18? But in the Duggar world, marriage is the only way to leave the house. You can't just move out and get an apartment. You move from your father's authority to your own household. Justin knew this. He saw the writing on the wall. He saw the legal troubles starting with Josh. He saw the stress on Dad's face. He wanted out. And the Spiveys offered him a golden ticket. Texas. A new family, a mother who adored him, a girlfriend who was sweet. He rushed it. We all saw him rushing. He got engaged so fast, it made our heads spin. I tried to tell him, bro, slow down. You have your whole life. But he looked at me with this look in his eyes, like a trapped animal seeing an open door. He wasn't running toward Claire as much as he was running away from being a Duggar. He would have married anyone to get that ticket to Texas. It just happened to be the family that wanted him the most. When Justin got engaged, usually that's a moment for the couple. You take photos holding hands, looking into each other's eyes. It's about two people becoming one. But with Justin and Claire, there was always a third wheel. Hilary, I remember seeing the behind the scenes of their engagement shoots. Hilary wasn't just in the background, she was directing. She was fixing his hair. She was buttoning his shirt. There is a specific photo that circulated online where Hilary is standing right next to Justin beaming, and Claire is almost off to the side. If you didn't know who was getting married, you might have thought it was Justin and Hilary renewing their vows. At the time, we laughed it off. We said, she's just an involved mom. But looking back, that was the first major red flag. She was inserting herself into the intimacy of their relationship from day one. She was establishing her territory, and Justin, being a teenager who just wanted to love, let her right in. The wedding day was hard for me. I was losing my best friend, but it was also just weird. I've been to a dozen Duggar weddings. I know the drill. The parents sit in the front row, cry a little, and let the couple have their moment. Hilary didn't sit. She hovered. There were moments during the reception where she was physically clinging to Justin. There are pictures where she has her arms wrapped around him, her head on his shoulder, eyes closed, and Claire is standing 3 feet away talking to someone else. It didn't look like a mother-in-law hugging a son. It looked possessive. It looked like she was saying, he's mine now. I remember standing there with the other brothers, just watching it. We didn't say anything, but we all exchanged looks. We knew something shifted that day. Justin wasn't just leaving Arkansas, he was being absorbed. The speed of the move was the most painful part. Usually, when a Duggar gets married, they stick around for a bit. They settle in a house nearby. Justin, he was gone before the ink dried on the marriage license. He packed his truck and drove to Texas without looking back. He didn't just move to a random house in Texas. He moved down the street from the Spiveys. Suddenly, his whole life was them. He works for Spivey Construction. He goes to their church. He eats dinner at their table. When I tried to call him in those first few months, the conversation were different. He sounded coached. He didn't want to talk about the old times. He only wanted to talk about how great Hilary and Robert were. It felt like he had joined a new team and was trying to convince himself it was better. But for me, the guy left behind in the warehouse we used to work in together, it felt like abandonment. Then the Instagram post started. And this is where the internet lost its mind. And honestly, I don't blame them. Hilary started posting photos that were just uncomfortable. There's the one on the couch. Justin is sitting there, and Hilary is leaning all the way into him. Hand on his chest. There's the one where they are walking, and she's holding his arm tighter than Claire is. Body language experts talk about intimacy zones. You have a zone for strangers, a zone for friends, and a zone for partners. Hilary constantly invades Justin's partner zone. And the worst part, Justin's face. If you look closely at his eyes in those photos, he's smiling. But there's a tension. He looks frozen. Like he knows it's weird, but he doesn't know how to tell the woman who gave him a job and a house to back off. He traded one controlling authority figure Dade for another Hilary. He just swapped the rules. We have to talk about Claire. Because in all of this drama, she is the one I feel sorry for. She seems sweet. She loves Justin. But in the narrative of Justin and the Spiveys, she often feels like a prop. Hilary is the main character. Justin is the prize. And Claire is the reason they are allowed to be together. I wonder sometimes if Claire notices. Does it bother her that her mom posts more about her husband than she does? Does it bother her that on holidays, Justin is sitting next to Hilary? Or maybe she is just used to it. Maybe that's just how their family works. But from the outside, looking at the photos, you see a young wife who is being overshadowed in her own marriage. Justin went to Texas to be a husband, but he ended up becoming a son-in-law first and a husband second. You have to understand something about my dad. He views his children as assets. We are the workforce. We are the brand. When a son gets married, the plan is usually simple. Dad gives him a house nearby. Dad gives him a job, and dad keeps control. Justin broke the script. When Justin announced he was moving to Texas to work for Robert Spivey, the mood in the big house changed. Dad was furious. He didn't show it on camera, but we felt it. It wasn't just that Justin was moving. It was that he was defecting. He was taking a labor, his fame and his future children to build another man's empire. I saw the way Dad looked at Hilary at family gatherings. It was cold. He knew what she was doing. She was poaching his son. It created this silent war between the families. Dad tried to bribe Justin to stay, offered him properties, offered him deals, but Hilary offered him something Dad couldn't attention. And in that war, Dad lost. It was the first time I saw Jim Bob Duggar truly outplayed at his own game. Then came the house news. We saw the headlines. Justin Duggar buys house for $1 a dollar. In this economy, it turns out the Spiveys sold him a property for basically nothing. On the surface, it looks like incredible generosity, a wedding gift. But I know how leverage works. When someone gives you a house, you owe them. You owe them your loyalty. You owe them your proximity. Justin didn't buy that house. He was tethered to it. By accepting that gift, he ensured he could never leave Texas. He could never move back to Arkansas, even if he wanted to. He is financially dependent on his in-laws. His job is with them. His home is from them. If he ever has a fight with Hilary, where does he go? He loses his roof and his paycheck in one day. That's not freedom, Justin. That's just a golden cage. And I think deep down, he knows he signed away his independence for a cheap mortgage. If you scroll through Hilary's Instagram, you start to notice a pattern. She has other sons. She has biological boys. But who gets the likes? Who gets the hashtags? Justin. Justin Duggar. Face-in-law. Hi, family. She knows that posting Justin brings traffic to her page. She knows the Duggar name is clickbait. But it feels deeper than just clout chasing. It feels like she is building a shrine to him. There are birthdays where she writes longer captions for Justin than she does for her own kids. She posts throwbacks of him. I've read the comments. People say, "Why are you so obsessed with him?" And she deletes them or she laughs it off. But as his brother, it's not funny to me. It feels like she collected him. Like he's a rare Pokemon card she wanted to show off to her friends. Look, I got a Duggar. It cheapens him. He's a human being, not a trophy for your Instagram grid. Why does Justin like it? Why does he stay? Because Hilary plays the cool mom card perfectly. In our house, everything was restricted. No movies, no shorts, strict music rules, no fun. Hilary is the opposite. She takes him snowboarding. She lets him wear what he wants. She takes him to movies. She uses freedom as a tool to bind him closer. She's basically saying, look how much better life is with me. Your real mom wouldn't let you do this. I'm the fun one. It's a classic manipulation tactic. You become the liberator. So Justin associates Hilary with joy, and he associates Arkansas with rules. Of course, he prefers her. She bought his love with worldliness. She gave him the teenage years he never got to have, but she's doing it while he's a married adult man. It's a delayed adolescence funded by his mother-in-law, and it keeps him acting like a child instead of the head of his own household. The result of all this, we never see him. We used to have huge family Christmases. Justin isn't there. Birthdays, he sends a text. Maybe he has ghosted the family. And when he does visit, it's for 24 hours and he acts like a guest. He doesn't sleep in the boys' room anymore. He stays at a hotel or leaves immediately. It hurts. I'm not going to lie. I see him in Texas having these big family dinners with the Spiveys, laughing, looking happy. And I'm sitting here in the warehouse where we used to fix cars, wondering why we weren't enough. Hilary has successfully isolated him. That's what a session does. It demands exclusivity. She couldn't just share him with us. She had to replace us. And looking at the empty seat at our dinner table, I'd say she succeeded. I've driven down to Texas a few times. I wanted to see for myself. I wanted to prove the internet wrong. I wanted to believe that Justin was just happy and independent. But when I walked into their world, the dynamic was heavy. You go to Justin's house and Hilary is there. You go to dinner, Hilary is there. You try to just hang out with the guys, and somehow the plans revolve around the Spiveys. Felt like Justin didn't have his own domain. A marriage, you create a bubble that is just you and your wife. But their bubble was pierced. I remember sitting on his couch, and he kept looking at Hilary for approval before answering questions. Like he was checking a script. Can I say this? Is this okay? He looked fed. He looked well dressed, but he didn't look like the leader of his home. He looked like the favorite child in someone else's home. And as his brother sitting there feeling like a stranger, I realized I wasn't visiting Justin anymore. I was visiting a version of Justin that they created. I've been doing some reading, trying to make sense of it. There is a term in psychology called enmeshment. It's when boundaries between family members become permeable. When a parent or a mother-in-law gets their emotional needs met through a child, it looks like love. It looks like closeness. But it's actually suffocation. Hilary treats Justin like a peer, like a friend, like a partner in crime. But that erodes his authority. If your mother-in-law is your best friend, where does your wife fit in? Where do your brothers fit in? This isn't just being close. This is a refusal to let go. We were raised in a cult-like environment where boundaries were non-existent because of the group. Justin jumped out of that fire and straight into this frying pan. He doesn't know what healthy distance looks like because he's never tasted it. He thinks this suffocating closeness is what love is supposed to feel like. It's not just me. I talked to Jason. I talked to the other guys. Jason has been breaking away too. He's doing his own thing. But even he looks at the Texas situation and shakes his head. We talk about it in the shop sometimes. Have you heard from Justin? No, but I saw Hilary post a picture of him. It's become a joke, but a sad one. Jason said something that stuck with me. He said, Justin traded a father who controlled his money for a mother who controls his time. We worry about the long term. Right now, it's fun. He's young. He's the golden boy. But what happens when the novelty wears off? What happens if he wants to move away from Texas? What happens if he wants to make a decision that Hilary doesn't like? That is when the real test will come. And we are all terrified that when that day comes, Justin won't have the spine to stand up to her because he's been trained to sit down and smile for the photo. So where does this end? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe this is his life now. Forever, he will raise his kids in the Spivey image, not the Duggar one. Maybe that's a good thing. God knows our family has issues. But there is a sadness in erasing who you are. I look at the future and I see Justin becoming Robert Spivey 2.0. He will run their business. He will live on their land. He will be buried in their plot. The Justin Duggar who used to fix trucks with me in the middle of the night, he's gone. Sometimes I hope he wakes up. I hope he realizes that being a man means standing on your own 2 feet, not leaning your mother-in-law's shoulder. But until he sees the strings, he can't cut them. And right now, he thinks the strings are hugging him. I made this video not to attack Hilary. She loves him in her own intense way, and not to attack Justin. I made this because silence feels like acceptance, and I don't accept that this is normal. To the fans watching, you aren't crazy. The photos are weird. The dynamic is off. Trust your gut. To Justin, if you ever watch this, brother, we miss you. The real you. Freedom isn't just moving to a different state. Freedom isn't just wearing jeans or going to the movies. True freedom is being your own man. It's having your own voice. It's having boundaries that nobody, not Dad and not Hilary, can cross. You escaped the big house, and I'm proud of you for that. But don't build another prison for yourself in Texas just because the warden brings you cookies. The door is always open here, not as a Duggar, but as a brother. I love you, man. But please look at who is holding the camera. I'm James Duggar. Thanks for listening to the other side of the story.